When the notice was posted for volunteers to participate in our TED Talk presentation, I was very interested. When the topic of connectivity was made the theme, I thought it'd be a perfect opportunity for me to share some of my personal stories on how I got into the field of education and how being connected or not connected has impacted me as a student and an educator. I'm one of 4 children in my family. I have an older sister and 2 younger brothers. And I can remember as a young child hearing my mother tell me that my sister was getting ready to go to school. I cried. I wanted to go with her. I wanted to be a part of that experience. I wanted to connect to the other students at that school. A few years passed, and I eventually entered school too. And at that time, I was just like my sister. I was excited to go, excited to be there, and I knew it was going to be fantastic initially. My sister thrived in school. She did very well academically and was the model student. Academics came very easy to her, and she was able to successfully learn the material that the teachers presented on a regular basis and maintain that knowledge all the way through her educational career. Teachers loved her. She also often pretended to be like her teachers and played school in our basement. She would use the chalkboard that my dad bought, and she collected textbooks along the way as props in her classroom. She enjoyed teaching the invisible students and the stuffed animals that were lined up neatly in the rows of desks in her classroom. One day she asked me to be a part of her pretend and be part of the classroom, and I said sure. So she told me to sit in the back of the room, and she started to tell me all the things that I needed to know, all the facts, figures, and information. The only problem was I kept squirming in my seat, and I really wasn't paying attention, to the point where she finally asked me to leave. I couldn't connect to that type of learning. I couldn't connect to that type of instruction. I wanted to learn, but not that way. An interesting fact is that I learned that my sister wasn't the only teacher that would struggle teaching me in that traditional style of classroom. You know, the sit and get type of classroom where you sit and you memorize information and then you regurgitate it back into a written test. Throughout my public school education, I've had math teachers, science teachers, English teachers, and music teachers who were, I'm convinced, at the beginning of the school year, would draw straws to see who was the lucky teacher to have me on their roster for the year. This is all because I had trouble learning in that type of structured classroom setting. I simply could not connect to that style of learning that required me to do the memorizing, writing, and regurgitating the information back. This type of learning didn't interest me at all. In fact, it still doesn't interest me. The custodian at Locust Grove Elementary School, where I went to school, was Mr. Anloff. Mr. Anloff was the guy that the teachers called all the time whenever there was a problem in their room that needed fixed. He also tended to the boilers in the basement, kept the school warm. He would fix the snow blowers and the lawnmowers whenever they didn't work well. He was the man with the tools. He knew how to fix just about anything. One day, my sister was playing school again, and she asked me if I wanted to be a part of it. Didn't threaten to throw me out this time. And I said, sure, I'll play, but I want to be the maintenance man that fixes the heater that I know is broken in your classroom. I could relate more to Mr. Anloff and his tools than the crazy way my sister was teaching me as a teacher. Now, jump ahead to when I was in 9th grade. My neighbor had a 1972 Pinto that had a severe case of rustitis and was in dire need of repair. He would watch me from across the street and notice that I was developing great mechanical skills, and I would use tools to fix things around the house under the watchful eye of my father. So Mr. Harvey asked me, a 14-year-old kid, if I would be interested in fixing his car, to putty it up, to sand it, to paint it, and bring it back to showroom appearance. Well, as much as a 14-year-old kid could bring back to showroom appearance. Throughout my childhood, I was always building shacks, fixing bikes, repairing things around the house and the neighborhood. I could connect to tools, and I could really understand the way mechanical things operated. You see, I discovered more about myself working on that Pinto and using tools than any classroom setting could share with me. Using tools and fixing things was very easy for me, and when I was able to see the results of my efforts, I felt very proud. When it came time for me to plan for life after high school, I thought, well, maybe I'd want to be an auto body man, but I thought, I like that, but I like a lot more, and I'm not sure what else is available. So under my parents' advisement, I enrolled in California University of Pennsylvania in their industrial arts program. My dad also convinced me to take the educational courses along with that program, just in case I needed that in the future. That was terrific advice. I loved being at Cal U because I was able to be exposed to a variety of different mechanical processes and classes that I just thrived in and I loved. I also found out that as I took the educational courses, I loved just as much helping people to learn how to fix, build, and repair things too. As an industrial arts teacher, I connected to the kids who were just like me. Oftentimes, I would talk with my colleagues who taught English, math, and science, and they were amazed at the kids that I had in my class who built beautiful furniture that looked like it came off of a furniture showroom floor. Or they designed a floor plan using the CAD system that was very intricate and could be handed to any contractor to build. Or they fixed a lawnmower or an engine that hadn't run in years. Those same students who were in my classroom and were thriving were struggling and causing issues in the English, math, and science classes as well. You see, those students couldn't sit still either. They struggled with the memorizing and regurgitating the information back. I've been in education for 26 years, and I still love learning. I have earned degrees and accomplished academic goals that many of my teachers thought would be impossible for me. In fact, some teachers thought I wouldn't amount to much at all. An interesting fact is that in recent years as a graduate student, I still encountered the traditional method of sit and get instruction in some of my doctoral courses, but I was able to succeed because those classes were done online and the professors couldn't see me squirming in my seat. I still enjoy learning how things work and fixing things, and I also love helping others to learn the same. Especially when things are done in a way that's non-traditional and the methods are created to create more aha moments of understanding. Different is different. And as a building principal, I have the opportunity to see teachers prepare unique lessons on a daily basis for kids. Things are better now than they have ever been in education. I'm happy to report that I'm witnessing more teachers who are accepting each child's unique needs. The lessons are created in a variety of learning styles more often than not. I'm proud to be part of the educational world and among professionals who treat each student differently and create lessons that are absolutely tailored to their needs. Teachers are making connections with kids in ways that were unheard of when I went to school. I wonder how different I would be if, as a child, my teachers had encouraged me to learn and show what I know in different ways, rather than memorizing and regurgitating. I wonder what Mr. Anloff, who would have been my teacher, I bet he could have shown me how to use a mathematical equation to calculate the appropriate spark plug gap in a lawnmower or the right mixing ratio for the fluids for floors. I could have connected to that type of lesson for sure. I am proud of the experiences that I've encountered throughout my life and my educational career. I am who I am because of each and every one of them. And I can honestly say that I hold my journeyman carpenter certificate as close to my heart as I do my doctorate degree. They are both different symbols of things I have learned from a variety of classroom settings. Different is different, and for me, it's been okay.